Faith is the substance of things not seen. I'm going to say it one more time. Faith is the substance of things not seen. Let's talk about it. A lot of people don't really understand what faith is. Like, they don't. It sounds pretty. It sounds beautiful. It sounds lovely. It's something you hear if you go to church every Sunday. It's something you're supposed to learn if you deepen your word. And it's something that you truly get and understand as you live life if you literally know what faith is and you live your life by faith and not by sight. Again, let's get into it. Faith is trust. That's all faith is. I know that, okay, it's two different words, but both these words have the same exact meaning. But they just work slightly different. Trust is, okay, I trust that if I stand up, my legs ain't gonna make me hit the floor. It's possible I could stumble and hit the floor. But I trust that as long as my legs is in proper working order, when I get up off this couch, they're gonna work. And I'm gonna be able to walk to wherever it is that I want to go next. I trust that, right? Okay. Faith is, I have faith to believe that when I go in my kitchen and I start cooking my food, that it's not going to boil over on the stove. I have faith that I'm not going to have nothing sticking to the bottom of the pan. I have faith that when I sit down and eat it, it's going to be tasty and hearty and delicious and stick to my ribs. And I'm going to be full and I'm going to be satisfied. Because in reality, I could go in there and have an hour too high and my pot boils over. I could go in there and walk away from the stove for just 1 second and my piece of food just starts to burn and stick to the bottom of the pan in 1 second. But it don't mean I'm not going to go in there and cook, all because those are possibilities. Instead, I'm going to have faith in the fact that when I go in there, I'm going to turn the temperature just high enough if I need to boil something. That I'm not going to get distracted. I'm not going to go to the bathroom. I'm not going to go into my bedroom, get on my phone, and I'm going to keep the pot stirred so nothing sticks to the bottom of the pan. I'm going to put just the right amount of seasoning. I'm not going to overly season nothing because I don't want it to be salty. I'm not going to under season nothing because I don't want it to taste like nothing, plain. But it takes faith to believe that when I go in there and I start cooking my meal, that everything from beginning to end is going to work out great. I'm going to sit down, I'm going to enjoy my meal, I'm going to be satisfied, and I'm going to be good until it's time for me to eat again. The same thing when it comes down to faith of things not seen. Now, have I seen myself do any of those things? I kind of pride myself on visualizing everything that I want to do before I do it. I mean, literally everything. And the reason why is when I visualize it, I'm actually manifesting when I'm visualizing. I'm manifesting and I'm setting my intentions, especially if I got to leave out my house to go do something. I don't really do it as much as I used to, which I'm about to get back into. But what I used to do when I lived in Virginia is before I even left my house, I would visualize myself. I didn't have a car at the time. I would visualize myself going outside my room, my hotel room where I lived, going across the street, that there was no traffic coming left or right, and I would easily and effortlessly be able to get across the street. I would visualize myself going into the store and finding all the sales and all the deals that would allow my money to go as far as I could push it. I would visualize myself not even standing in line. I visualize myself that even if I walked in there and the whole store was packed, and the lines was all the way down the aisles, that by the time I had gathered everything that I wanted, needed, and desired, that even if somebody had to open a brand new line right then, I was going to be the next one being taken. I was going to pay for everything that I picked up. I was going to grab my bags, put them in my little grocery bags I use to help me navigate a little bit better. And then I was going to easily and effortlessly be able to walk from the store across those 6 lanes of traffic, going left and right. That there would be no traffic as soon as I got to the road, and I could just mosey across 3 lanes, stand there in the middle, look both ways, see nothing was coming, go across the other 3 lanes, and boom, be back in the parking lot of my hotel where I lived at. Be able to effortlessly go up the elevator, which that needed faith too, because we had times that daggone elevator would not work, and then I would have to walk up 2 flights of stairs, and I mean like over 12 stairs, 2 flights of them, just to be able to get to my hotel room. Then navigate putting the stuff on the floor, which I didn't like doing that because let's just say they didn't have the cleanest carpets. So I like to hold my stuff until I got in my space because my space was clean. I washed and cleaned and swept and mopped my floor. I knew it was clean. But get back into my place, put my bags down, sit down and take me a little rest, maybe have me a little water, then put all my stuff away and see all of what I had and be able to move through my day. I would literally sit on the bed or on a chair and I would take the time to visualize each step from beginning to end. And I ain't gonna lie to you, most of the time, that's exactly how it worked. I could get out there and traffic would be booming, especially if it was the rush hour. If it was rush hour on Jefferson Avenue, I'm going to just say it was interesting. But most of the time, a large, I would have to say 99.9% of the time, I got exactly what I visualized. But it took faith. I didn't physically see those things happening right before my very eyes. First, I needed to see it in my third eye. When I saw it in my third eye, when I felt it come up out my heart space, my solar plexus, and go out the top of my crown and send it out to the universe, send it out into the world, it was me trusting and believing and having faith, literally, in action, faith in action, that this was what was happening. This was what was about to happen. I say all that to say this. Now that I introduced you to what faith is and how it works, and now that I introduced you to what trust is and how that works, I need you to start using it. Like I don't know what else you expect me to say, but it's the truth though. I need you to start using it. And the reason why is because you need faith in this world, especially this world we're living in now. This day and time we're living in now. You cannot function without faith. And I'm not going to say like the church folks or even what the Bible says in this sense. Because sometimes the Bible is literal, but sometimes you need the working of the Holy Spirit within you to actually understand what it means when it says something. When it says to have the faith of a mustard seed. Baby, throw them daggone mustard seeds away. You need to have the faith of the size of your body. You need to have the faith the size of the house that you live in. You need to have the faith of the size of your car. You need to have the faith of the size of this world. Because when you have that much faith, you can't go wrong at that point. Everything is going to go right at that point. It may not always go the way you want it, but it's always going to go the way it's supposed to be. And it's going to be vibrationally compatible to you. You determine how you get blessed. You determine how things show up in your life. You determine it, and you determine it by your faith. If you tell me you can't do something, baby, I got faith in you that you right. You can't do it because you already think you can't. You already believe you can't. But if you tell me, I got it. I may not know how to do it. I'm going to figure it out. I believe you. You going to figure it out. My mate do me like that sometimes. And I do him like that sometimes too. Well, he'll say, babe, this is the idea I got. This is what I want to do. Now, me personally, do I know how the man is going to be able to do it? I ain't going to sit here and tell you no lie. I have no clue. I do not know how you going to be able to do that. Now, I can go to God about it, but at the same time, I have learned that in some things, I got to go to God on my own. You got to go to God on your own. And if it's divinely guided for it to happen, we can go to him together. And then at that point, if he decides to use me as a mouthpiece to say, yeah, this is how this can work, and boom, 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 well, then I go back to that man of mine, and I say, well, look, this is what God said. So, yeah, it's definitely possible. But you're going to have to do this, you're going to have to do that, you're going to have to make that happen, and that right there happen, and then all that going to come together, and then boop, it's going to show up. I give it to him just like that. But never once do I look at him and say, oh, no, you can't do that. Nah. Why would I tell you that? I would be taking your faith away. And I don't want to take away your faith. I want to amplify whatever faith that you got. And I daggone well don't want it to be the size of no mustard seed. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that. I mean, those that don't know what a mustard seed is, I mean, if you've had a burger from Burger King and you got a Whopper, 9 times out of 10, you've seen a mustard seed up there on that bun. And that's all the faith that you got. I don't care if the Bible specifically writes that in black and white, that all you need is faith of the size of a mustard seed. Baby, in order to make it in this world, you need way more faith than the size of a mustard seed. I can promise you that one. You need to have the faith that surpasses all understanding. You got to have the faith to be able to walk through walls. You got to be able to have the faith to see the impossible made possible. That's the type of faith that you have to have. You can have faith in Jesus. I would advise you to have faith in Jesus, but I ain't trying to convert you. I want you to make that choice all on your own. You know why? Because if I make that choice for you, you ain't going to have faith. Because if you don't believe in him, you ain't going to have faith in him. But you at least need to have faith in your daggone self. And that's just what it is. So it's time to elevate that faith. Now, you know what faith is. You know how it works. I gave you an example for the kitchen. I gave you an example for my legs. Use your own as a template to get you and keep you in alignment for your greatest and highest good. I love you. God bless you. And I hope y'all have an amazing day. You heard me? Peace.